Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode here in our survival world. I really hope that you enjoyed the video that I put out on Monday. It wasn't in my initial plan, but I'm very happy that we were able to get that farm to work. And we'll probably end up building it or something similar in this world, but first we've got to make our way over to the Nether, and I'm not quite ready for that step just yet. As you know, in our last episode, we took some time and we gathered up a lot of sheep. And at this point in time, we are only missing the sheep in the brown dye variant. And that is what we've got to try and figure out today, is how to get our hands on one of them. And fortunately, brown sheep are decently common. I don't think that they're the most common sheep. A reason would happen to suggest that that is the white sheep. But we're certainly going to try and see if we can track one down. And I have a method that I think is going to work decently well for that. And it involves us coming over here to this crafting table. And we're going to do a couple of things. First off, we're going to put a bunch of this iron in our crafting table. And it's going to be a hit to our iron reserves. But I think it's going to be best in terms of getting us what we need. I think, no, that is the redstone that I have, so we'll go ahead and throw that back in there. And then now that we have all of these compasses, we're going to want to make ourselves some maps with compass as well. And I believe it's like that. It is, which means I'm going to need a lot more paper. Because ideally what we're going to do here is we're going to make a couple of additional maps to... You had better not be in there. Okay, I don't know. Where the... Oh, they're right outside my window here, and there's a lot of those guys. But before I was rudely interrupted by the pillaging raids grunts there, I was going to say we're going to come down here and get a bunch more of this sugar cane, because we're going to need a lot of that in order to continue on here. Now they were going around that way. And so I'm going to hope that they continued right on by. They didn't seem to make their way into this ravine. There they are. They're going out into the woods over that way. Hopefully they're far enough away from my bed to the point where I can sleep the night away here. So we'll see if that's the case. Yes, it is. Well, they're going to continue on their merry little way, and I am just going to finish making up some of these maps that we're going to need. I think it's like 32-ish pieces again, because that's going to get us the other 4 maps. And with the map that we have downstairs, we also expanded out the map a bit. And so we're going to make a little bit more paper so we can then take that over to our cartography table, which hopefully is out of the way of where those pillagers are, so we don't stir up too much of a situation over there. So let's store up some of this sugar cane that we didn't end up using. And you'll notice that I also have a little bit of glow lichen in my inventory. I'm trying to determine whether or not I like this type of pattern down here on the walls. I actually think that it would break it up and make it a little bit nicer feeling, though it can only go on the non portions of the wall here, the non-covered either by a slab or by this chest array that I have. So we'll just kind of have to see. Maybe I'll get it to the point where I just kind of like have it intermittently sprinkled throughout, or maybe even make a little bit of a pattern on these 3 blocks using the glow lichen. But I've still got to really work out if that's something that I want to do. I also managed to get a power 2 bow off of a skeleton, which was a really nice find for us. Of course, it's not the best power rating, but that's nothing that a little bit of enchanting can't do to remedy for us. Now, I do have to come up this way a fair ways before we get off of, or onto the next little map area. So I am going to remain in this little field of view for a brief moment, because I don't think that there were any brown sheep around here, but this is the better way to see it. It actually is right there, right ahead of us, so we didn't have to go very far at all. I did all of this prep work only to find that this sheep right here is what we were after the entire time. So that actually eats a lot of time out of what I was meaning to accomplish today. So that's cool, I guess. So we'll just kind of stutter step our way home to ensure that our lead doesn't break off of this sheep. Okay, I didn't even have to break out the wheat for that. And we now have a sheep of every kind that we need and every color in the different pens. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next big project when the time comes for it, which will probably be putting a roof on our building. I've still got to decide exactly what I want to do with that before making a commitment, though. So why don't we come down here to our wonderful little wall and hit some of this glow lichen with some bone meal. I really think that that's going to do some good things for us here. And I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do in terms of like a pattern or something. So let's first off go ahead and put this map back on the wall. And we'll probably do more with that in a minute. But right here, we'll go ahead and hit that with some of this bone meal as well. And I just used my shovel instead of my shears to pick up that glow lichen, which isn't what I was hoping to do. I don't know how I feel about that. It's definitely something that would be interesting and different down here, but we'll just kind of have to see if that's something that I would like to continue to do. Let me actually go ahead and put that on the rest of the walls down here, and then we'll make a decision as to whether or not we think it's great. I just want to try and keep the pattern somewhat consistent based off of what it would be if it continued to wrap around these walls. I mean, I don't dislike it. I don't think that it's bad. And it certainly breaks up some of the monotony of the walls down here. So I do think that I'm going to leave it, because even the parts where it's not doesn't tend to stand out a whole lot. And I did a little bit of testing over here and determined that you can put an item frame immediately adjacent to this glow lichen as well as have something in it, which means that we can continue to have this little wall area designated for our different maps as we put them in. Now I'm going to grab a little bit of our leather, which is right here, and that's going to allow us to make the rest of the item frames that we need here, except I need more sticks. So let's grab a little bit of wood as well. Okay. We now have the spots on this wall picked out for our maps to be. And so now let's go ahead and spend a little bit more time getting our map finished out or fleshed out so we can see the entirety of the surrounding area. And before I even think about that, I'm going to grab the remainder of my white wool and we're going to make another bed. Let's go ahead and get out our first map here. And let's see, let's do that. And then I've got this very odd space open over this way. That's so I can keep track of what maps are where. And now we're going to need to place down our cartography table. And we're going to need to zoom out that map a bit, which is all well and good. Let's take down the cartography table now. which is going to take a while on horseback. But we can now finish this map out. Speaking of brown sheep, there was another one right here that we would have found had we used the ride around method we were planning on doing at the start of the episode. So we certainly had our options in terms of finding those sheep. Wow, a lot of brown sheep actually. Are they just more common in the savanna biomes then? Because that seems to be more the case. There we go. That actually worked out really nice. Now, I don't love how the lines meld together. That's just because of the different light levels. If I really want, I can combine the item frames themselves with some glow ink. But all things considered, that's a pretty sizable area we have, and it gives you a perspective as to just how little we have done, really. Because, yeah, there's not a whole lot that we have accomplished here. I think that this little space right here, you can see that longer line of detail. That's where we set up our little sheep pen. But I'm fairly happy with how well that went. Now, I do need to get a little bit more experience in order to look for the next enchant that I'm going to be working with. So we'll go ahead and see if we can track that down really quick. Through gathering, there's only a couple of ways that we can reliably get XP at this level currently. So let's actually go down and see if we can find some things to mine up with our new fancy Fortune 3 pick that are worth grabbing. I suppose that lapis is a decent thing to fortune, so we can grab that. And this was the exact spot that I tried using the lapis method, but didn't have any success with it really at all, which is kind of unfortunate. But while I'm thinking about it, there was a bunch of obsidian right here, and I've got a diamond pick. Even though it doesn't have Unbreaking 3 on it, it's probably going to be best if we at least grab the obsidian that we need to go down to the nether. And I also don't have efficiency on this, so it's still going to take just as long as it otherwise would to gather up the 12 pieces that are needed. I suppose I really only need, or I guess it's 10. But if I want to make it look decently presentable, it would be best to have 14. I'll probably just go with the bare minimum if I'm being honest. The other reason I was kind of rethinking gathering some of the obsidian is because I know a really awesome method of getting experience is quartz mining in the nether, and I really need quartz in order to fully flush out that sheep farm that we've got. So let's go ahead and preemptively grab a little bit of redstone here, because we're going to need that anyway as well. And let's just get another cluster here. That'll get us over a stack of the dust. I don't think we need quite that much, but it'll be good to have. And then let's just go ahead and fortune our first iron of the world. Granted, this is not our first iron, but it is our first iron fortuned. Which means that from that 8 vein, we ended up with 15 different pieces of raw iron ore to smelt up. That's actually really, really nice. Now let's see if I can make my way back up out of here, and I do believe that this is the spot. But I'm going to stop briefly and refill a water bucket, since I had taken the water out to make space for the maps that we were carrying around just a bit ago. So now that we're getting ready to do some enchantment and hopefully get down to the nether in the near future, we're going to go ahead and craft ourselves up some diamond armor. It kind of hurts to use the limited diamonds that I have to make this investment, but we honestly need to because it does a lot in terms of getting us the much needed safety that we need for a lot of the different projects and places that we're going to end up being. So we're going to go ahead and place our diamond armor on this armor stand until we can get things enchanted up. I'm going to store the remainder of my diamonds in this chest because I really don't want to lose those at any point, and then we will determine exactly what enchantments we can get on those once we have our 30th level there, which I'm gonna have to scrounge around to see what I can get those remaining levels out of. As a matter of fact, I think I'm gonna head over that way into the river because I know that there's a bunch of squid out that way. Grinding out levels can be quite the chore, but we are now up to that 30th level, so let's go ahead and grab that diamond armor that, you know, I just put on an armor stand. Let's grab those pieces off of it and head over to our enchanting table and see which piece of armor we can get the best enchantment on after we store up the bone meal and the ink sacks that we have acquired there. And I keep forgetting that I should probably build a better access point back here because I don't dare fill in this pond because of the glow squid that keeps spawning in it, and they're a little bit harder to come by. So we'll just kind of keep breaking into that zone when I need to in order to collect up the few glowing sacks that I can gather out of there. But after that, let's go ahead and head over to our crafting table now that we've got those glowing sacks stored up with the remainder of our supply. Alright, so we're in here in this menu. We're just going to pop the different pieces in and see what we get. Protection 3, that's not bad on the helmet. Blast protection, not exactly what we're looking at. Breaking 3 on the leggings is actually quite nice. And fire protection 3, which I do see a decent amount of benefit in fire protection, but I honestly think out of what we have, the Unbreaking 3 on the leggings is probably the best option we have currently. So let's go ahead and see just Unbreaking, which we're going to have see if we can get some protection on that at a later date, possibly through a book enchantment. But that is one of the 4 pieces of armor at the very least with an enchantment placed on it at this point in time. But that is going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like on the videos. That helps other people know that this is something that they may enjoy. If you have not done so yet, go ahead and subscribe for that daily variety content because there's a lot of videos coming your way every single day, as well as a good amount of projects that I'm very excited to share with you in the near future. But thanks again for watching, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Bye-bye.